Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the Newport Centre here in South Wales for Cage Warriors number 91, the best mixed martial organisation in Europe. We're going to kick off tonight in the bantamweight division. Please make some noise as he makes his way into the cage, fighting out of Dundee in Scotland, Scott Malone.
Well, a warm welcome to a very cold Newport, Ian. We almost didn't make it, but the show always goes on here at Cage Warriors. And looking to kick things off with a bang tonight is this bantamweight contest between Scott Malone and Jason the Grasshopper Jenkins. Looks set to be an interesting fight to kick things off, Ian.
Hi, Brad. Great to be back on comms with you, and yeah, really looking forward to this fight. Right now, we've got Scott Malone making his cage walk. And again, one of the many fights we thought we might lose with the weather. Scott had to drive down all the way from Scotland. So, first of all, you've got to wonder if that's going to affect him. Has a 3-1 pro record. But really hasn't fought arguably top-tier competition so far in his pro career. And looking forward to seeing how he does here against Jason Jenkins.
Absolutely. Driving down from Scotland, that's no short hop. Thought I had it rough coming in from Birmingham yesterday in the back of a 4x4. Big shout out to all the fighters who made that extra effort to get here to Newport. Scott Malone undergoing final preparations at cage side before he steps in against Jason the Grasshopper Jenkins. 30 years old is Scott Malone, so you've got to believe this is a now or never situation for the Scotsman.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome as he makes his walk into the cage from Ebervale in Wales, Jason Jenkins.
And the Welsh crowd, as they are wont to do, on their feet for the arrival of Jason the Grasshopper Jenkins. Ian, we've been to Wales many times and the fans never let us down here, and they're out in strong support of Jenkins tonight.
That's right, Brad. Interesting story as well about Jason Jenkins. Due to fighting our last card here in Newport, suffered a late pull-out, was unable to fight, really frustrated, and you know, training out of the Artillery Combat gym, really well organised gym. They've got really a lot of good talent, as we know, and he's also got a really good amateur background as well. You know, Wales a real hotbed for amateur talent here in the UK. 6-7 fights, so well schooled in that. And much like his opponent, I really think he's trying to make an impact. And like you said, is this a now or never? 29 years old. And this is the kind of place for him right now to go and see if he can take it up to the next level.
Absolutely, he comes in with a taekwondo background, but all of his 3 professional wins thus far have come by way of submission. So we've got 2 very well-rounded young men in the cage. And to the victor shall go the spoils.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is 3 rounds in the Cage Warriors bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, judoka with a professional record of 3 wins and 1 loss, standing 5 feet 7 inches tall. He weighed in exactly on the limit of 135 pounds, fighting out of Dundee, Scotland, Scott Malone. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, taekwondo and jiu-jitsu fighter. His record reads 3 wins with a single loss, standing 5 feet 10 inches tall. He weighed in at 135 pounds, fighting out of Ebervale, Wales, Jason the Grasshopper Jenkins. And when the action begins, the referee in charge, Pete Lavery.
Referee Pete Lavery about to get this one underway. 3 5-minute rounds if they need them in the Cage Warriors bantamweight division. Scott Malone in the black, Jason Jenkins in the white with black trim.
Okay, fighter, are you ready? Are you ready? Time. Fight.
Time in, touch of gloves, and we are underway. Nice body kick and a takedown attempt, but he's left himself caught in the guillotine there as Malone. Looking to get some leverage and apply the big squeeze. He closes the guard, switching up that grip.
Watch those elbows, fighters.
Good work,
Malone lives to fight another day.
Yeah, good work by Malone.
Watch the elbows,
right there.
make sure they're targeted.
Quick start from both guys. interesting to see that both men haven't fought for around about a year, so could be some cage rust right away, and it's good to see that both guys are with this weather and the difficulties they've had of coming to start fast.
Fast and furious start from these two bantamweights. Jenkins now being forced to defend a series of short shots from that top position. He's closed the guard. A little bit of vintage Hoist Gracie there with the heel kicks.
Some nasty elbows there though, Brad, from the top.
Yeah, Malone doing some devastating work in short range there with those elbows.
And again with the elbow, just pulling his opponent against the fence, but then, by the way, Jenkins always got the arm right there. Just Malone needs to be a little careful from the top.
Yeah, both these guys being a little reckless so far with the submission game. Malone, a judoka, so you've got to believe he's going to have an incredible grip strength.
Watch those fingers, guys. Watch the
Yeah, it's
fingers.
going to be very difficult to shift on that top position. But then Jenkins again, more of a traditional jiu-jitsu background as well to go with his striking. So yeah, he's going to be no stranger to this position, and he seems to be relatively comfortable at the minute. Although Malone just needs to be careful that Malone doesn't get some leverage there.
Yeah, there's a potential for a head and arm choke setup. Oh, good work there from Malone to pin the arm and use those short strikes. They're not fight-ending blows, but it's incredibly frustrating, and of course it racks up points in the long run.
Yeah, and he's just slowly making his way, advancing his position. Jenkins there trying to bridge up, just trying to frustrate his opponent, trying to tie him up there, Brad.
Yeah, halfway through this first round, and Malone really eating up the clock. Very nearly gave up his neck early on, but he's cruising to a 10-9 thus far. Still plenty of time though for Jenkins to pull something back.
Jenkins needs to be careful there, buddy. He's leaving his neck very vulnerable right there. And a nice elbow again, these time left elbows. And some other strikes. Nice work by Malone.
Yeah, Malone's doing some great work from this top position. He appeared to be briefly looking for a choke. As soon as he realised it wasn't in, he went straight back to the short, sharp strikes.
Good work again though by Jenkins, just frustrating him. And he's got his corner there, Richard Shaw, obviously right there, just giving him instructions. Jack Marshman there as well. So there's, you know, some good people there, just trying to make things a little easier for Jenkins, just giving him some instructions, but he's got to stop these strikes from coming through.
You can't keep rolling the dice on these short elbow strikes. You're going to end up cut sooner or later, and that opens up a whole new world of trouble. Up kick attempt there didn't land for Jenkins. Malone has passed that guard now. He's inside control. He's got to keep those hips as close to the ground as he can.
Come on, target the shot.
Yeah, Jenkins, I mean, trying valiantly to try and improve his position, but each time he's thwarted by Malone. And again, you see, he's just trying to get into guard, but again, you know, great work by Malone, just controlling his opponent.
Yeah, briefly went to the knee on belly there, did Malone, and his clock really has been eaten up now.
Credit to Malone for just doing enough all the time to just prevent any stand-ups and continuing the damage as well.
When you hear the referee there just warning Jenkins not to put his toes through the cage, you can push off the cage with the flat of your foot. You can't hook your toes or fingers through it.
More these really short punches, Brad. He just keeps landing. And like, as you said before, not fight ending, but annoying. And this damage is only going to accumulate through 15 minutes if he doesn't start stopping it now. And again, he tries to improve his position. Malone blocks him off, and again, looks to attack the neck.
Again, switching back to the short elbow strikes is Malone. He really has chained up his control, his submission attempts, and his strikes effectively here in the first round. Points on the board for Scott Maloney, and you have to believe after the first 5 minutes, and also confidence for the Scotsman is going to be sky high after effectively after that early submission attempt, what was a one-sided round.
Exactly, Brad. You know, as you said, he ate up the clock. He was landing a lot of the strikes, not maybe massively effective, and that might stop at 10-8, but nevertheless, he was completely in control. And as we see here at the replay, here's the start, Brad.
Yeah, he jumped on that guillotine, did Jenkins. He was able to get the second hand in, and he just readjusts his grip here, as it seemed like Malone was going to drop to the mat. Malone able to ride this one out, though. And here we'll see some of these short strikes now from the Dundee man. Slicing elbows, and you really are rolling the dice with taking shots like that and not defending. You're going to get cut eventually. There's a technique that was really pioneered by the likes of Tito Ortiz back in the day, using the palm to push off the forehead and drop the elbow. You're exerting less energy, you don't need as much leverage, and you can do a lot of damage. Spinning back fist, missed there from Jenkins. There was a bit of that Taekwondo background.
And I wonder if that was frustration as well. After that first round, you know, of having someone landing those strikes from top position, maybe trying to change things up, but all it's done really is put him in that position yet again. And straight away, Malone just looking really comfortable, just trying to isolate that arm.
Firmly inside control here is Scott Malone, looking to get the crucifix position. Oh, step straight into mount. Beautiful stuff from Malone.
I was wondering how long it would take for Malone actually to look for full mount. Been effective so far, but at least for full mount, if you can posture up and land more strikes, but again, straight the tide. Just really almost toying with his opponent on the ground right now.
Absolutely. It was an attempt at guard recovery there from Jenkins, but Malone straight through it like a hot knife through butter. And immediately back in his advantageous position as Jenkins tries to come out the back door here.
Yeah, and again, landing more strikes. And that cutting elbow he's used again early on there. Eventually, it's only a matter of time, Brad, before he starts doing some real damage there.
Well, you can see the near side arm has been isolated, and this could be a very dangerous position for Jenkins. If Malone can get any kind of leverage to start dropping those elbows, he'll be unable to defend himself effectively. And if he can't block the shots, the referee will not let him take them forever.
Target them.
You hear the referee there saying target them, but he is, you know, he's doing enough to just keep that action flowing on the ground. Just looking again to land that elbow, maybe.
Malone looking very, very calm here as well. There's no air of desperation about him. He knows he's in control, he knows he's ahead, and he knows he can affect his game plan on Jason Jenkins.
It's got to be frustrating if you are Jason Jenkins. Yes, he's not getting massive damage, but again, he's just losing the round, and the Scotsman is just eating up the time, and he isn't getting anything effective done at all.
Let's stay busy.
As you pointed out at the beginning of the second round, Ian, perhaps a little bit of frustration there with that spinning back fist. So it really is going to be interesting to see how Jenkins comes out in the third round if he makes it that far. And it's perhaps going to be down to what the corner team tells him between rounds as to how his attitude's going to fare in that third.
Exactly, Brad. And as I was saying earlier, you know, a near 11-month break for Jenkins. And that frustration is only going to build up. You know, he was looking to fight here in October last year. That didn't happen. And right now, you know, it's got to be affecting his game plan and his mind, with Malone just controlling the action.
Yeah, he's keeping that shoulder very, very tight there as he looks to step through the guard. Just happy to sit in this top position, though, for the moment is Malone. He's shown that he's pretty much able to pass at will when he wants
Watch
to.
his heads, guys. Come on, let's stay busy.
And land damage from side control. But as we've talked about, Ian,
Watch the
currently
back of the
just
head,
eating
Friday.
that clock up, putting time on the board.
Yeah, but I think if, you know, right now he does have to be a little careful that he doesn't lose this position. His work rate is slow just a little bit. And, you know, he maybe posture up now, maybe try and just land some more strikes just to show the referee as he just changes position again. Looking now for that elbow.
I'm not sure that we've heard referee Pete Laverty ask for action yet, as Jenkins looking to tie up an inverted triangle here. Difficult to see from our current angle. He's got it tied up, but doesn't look like the choke is in itself.
Yeah, difficult to see, as you said, but Jenkins looking really hopeful, but again, Malone just rode it out.
Stranger things have happened, Ian, but the question now is, you know, how much did that take out of Jenkins in terms of the squeeze he had to put on that hold with his legs?
But he seems to have given him some encouragement, though, Brad. Saying that, again, he looked for it again, and he is in a bad spot, but it's good to see he's still trying to find a way out of it, and he's actually trying to get some offense of his own.
Watch those elbows, fighter. Come on.
Yeah, the hips moving there from Jenkins on the bottom as Malone. Oh, he stepped over the head. There's a Kimura opportunity here.
15 seconds to go.
Double wrist lock is in. He's got 1 foot over the head. All he needs to do is pop that arm out. Can Jenkins survive? A grimace on the face of the Welshman. And he survives. Really dicing with death there was Jason Jenkins here, and that Kimura grip was firmly locked on.
Yeah, you can see in Jenkins' eyes right there. I think he was content to ride it out, but I wouldn't have liked to have seen him last much longer in that position.
That's a pretty big risk to take as we look back at some of the action from the second round.
You can see
beautiful step over into full mount there, Ian.
Yeah, you can see right there. Yeah, again, the Scots were just controlling the tempo of the fight. And again, just looking for these elbows and short strikes, just frustrating the home fighter. He goes for the counter, looks at that inverted triangle, as you said, and you can see from this angle,
more of a crank on the neck, really, it looked like, from that angle. But this is where Malone perhaps came closest to finishing the fight. He'd stepped over the head already, and it would just have been a case of popping that wrist around the back, and that could have been all she wrote. Jason Jenkins survives, though, and we'll see the third round. What a comeback this would be if Jenkins could pull something out here. Stiff shots from both fighters landed. And we see that Taekwondo background coming into play, but the judo player barrels his man straight into the fence and takes him down on the far side of the cage.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, we're going to see a more measured start from Jenkins, but yet again, you know, he goes out with something dramatic and then leaves himself straight open for the counter, taken down, and again, he's got to try and rebuild from this position against the fence.
Already looking to get those legs working is Jenkins. Trying to spin his way out of this bottom position.
Malone just trying to stack him up there, just laying very heavy down on Jenkins. And again, that elbow, just letting him know it's there. If he doesn't go, you know, protect himself, it's going to come down and land more strikes.
Really frustrating situation for Jenkins to be in here. Malone just able to control him from this top position, able to do just enough. As you hear the referee there just asking for action, and immediately Malone's hopped into mount. Jenkins trying to recover the guard, but Malone will step through into side control perhaps. Now still got that one leg in.
Yeah, I mean, Jenkins done very well to stop Malone getting full mount and try and sort of minimise the damage he has been getting. Some heel kicks there, just trying to frustrate the Scotsman, maybe try and make him move from that position, but Malone's just not affected at all.
Yeah, Ian, you talked earlier on about both these guys having a bit of a break from the cage, and when you look at a guy like Scott Malone with that judo base, a very power-centric style, you wonder how the gas tank's going to fare over 3 rounds after that break. But from the look of things here, he's walked straight out of the gym into the cage in fine fettle.
And like you said, and as we both said earlier, with the added car journey as well, and the anxiety of wondering whether, for both fighters, whether this fight was actually going to happen. He's been fantastically composed, especially when you think Malone's career, I mean, like, over half a dozen fights have fallen through in his career, and when you've only got 4 pro fights yourself, that must be incredibly frustrating, but he's making the most of this cage time.
Come on.
Well, that's a good point, Ian, the fact that he has been out for so long. Perhaps the game plan was to go out there and get 3 rounds on the board.
Let's keep the pressure on him.
And Jenkins has certainly given him a lot to think about, Ian. He's not just lying there and taking it, he's constantly trying to move the hip. He's recovered that guard a number of times. He's making Scott Malone work for this.
He certainly is, you know, some palm strikes there just to try and make him move from the position, but he's just having a hard time just really forcing Malone from these dominant positions all the time. Yes, he's not getting a lot of damage, but it must be just so frustrating for him right now.
I believe he was looking to set up the dart there. He would have needed to free his leg to fully apply any pressure to that, but Malone constantly working.
Looking for a submission there, maybe. Slams down his shoulder over his face. Again, just more damage on a knee, and nice. I'd like to see maybe Malone mix up his strikes in this position. These knees can be dangerous from side. Just trying to open up Jenkins more.
Yeah, shoulder shrugs and big knees on the ground. Someone's been watching the Vandalay Silver instructional.
Again, another knee.
Really underutilized technique in mixed martial arts these days, that big knee to the body on the ground. Obviously, the knee to the head on the ground is illegal under the unified rules, but you can generate so much power, and a clean hit to the ribs really is a damaging strike and really can empty the gas tank as well.
Yeah, and set up other moves as well. You see Jenkins there just trying to land some knees of his own, but you can see Malone just looking just so composed and in control, and just content to eat up this time.
He's constantly done just enough to keep referee Pete Lavery happy. Every time there's a slight lull in the action, he's changed position, he's thrown a short strike, again hammering that shoulder into the face of Jenkins.
And it's not for want of trying. Jenkins is trying to get out of this position, but you can just see Malone just smothering him at every attempt. And he must have 12, 13 minutes control on the floor right now.
No mean feat when you're trying to handle a man who weighs the same as you, who doesn't want to be there, but Scott Malone really has been able to affect his own game plan consistently over 15 minutes here in Cardiff. And unfortunately, the Welsh fans in our opener here on Facebook will see their man go down to a points decision. I'd like to say strange things have happened, but they really have been. A very, very consummate, controlled and measured performance there from Scott Malone.
That's right, Brad. What else can I say? We just see some replays right here, and again, take down early on. He leaves his neck out, his neck in, but it doesn't matter. He gets through that, and you can see here, Jenkins just trying to do something to dislodge the Scotsman, but he doesn't care. And again, you can see right here, shoulder strikes as well.
Great economy of movement from Malone there. He didn't have a lot of room, he wasn't able to create leverage, so he used a set of strikes that didn't require it.
Yeah, you know, very smart work on the mat. You've got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, a nice show of respect between these two Cage Warriors bantamweights in the centre of the cage. Jason Jenkins and Scott Malone with a torrid 15 minutes of action there. The scorecards have been tallied, and we'll throw this one to Andy Friedlander in the cage to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. The judges score this contest 30-26, 30-27 and 30-27 in favour of the winner. By unanimous decision, Scott Malone.
Well, it was a long journey, but it was worth it for Scott Malone. That drive back to Dundee will be a little bit sweeter, knowing that he's got one in the win column. He's with Andy Friedlander in the cage.
Scott, congratulations. It must feel satisfying. You made the long journey down from Scotland. You battled the weather, but tonight it was just pure dominance on the floor. Was that always the plan, or were you trying to try something else?
No, I knew he was a good striker. Done a little bit of homework. Obviously, I had to take him down and just totally neutralise his game. That was the plan all along.
For the educated fans here, they saw, I think, a Kimura attempt towards the end of the second round. You had it locked in with both hands. Were you thinking that was it?
Almost, but he had his hands together. Can I just say one thing? Happy birthday to my son.
You just did. Happy birthday, young Malone, and congratulations, Scott. Wonderful way to start the evening. Thank you.
Big win there for Scott Malone to kick things off here on our Facebook preliminary stream of Cage Warriors 91. Plenty more action to come here in the Newport Centre. So without further ado, let's throw it back.